All right, we are very excited. Very, very. We have a lot of things to get to. Maybe some wacky things to get to. We have Adam Scott with us for the first time ever on the show. How's everything going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me.
Severance. Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
Friday's Apple TV Plus. A little synopsis. Lumen Industries uses a severance medical procedure to separate the non-work memories of some of their employees from their work memories. What can you tell people? Thriller. A little bit of psychological drama. Love the trailer, by the way, if those haven't seen it. And it's on Apple TV Plus, premiered in February. You have not watched it. But what can you tell people about Severance who haven't seen it yet? Maybe want to have them get into it.
Sure.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, it takes place in a world where you can get, like you said, a procedure done. You get a chip implanted in your brain. So once you cross the threshold of your job, all of your memories of the outside world disappear and you can't access them. So your entire life is that job. And then at the end of the day, when you cross the threshold to go home, you have no memories of what happened at work. So you have two completely separate lives that you're living in. So the idea being, this is the ultimate work-life balance. You can just enjoy your life, your personal life, and you can do the best possible job at work because you don't have to think about or worry about anything else in either circumstance.
4 more episodes that are coming out in the next couple of weeks, the 18th, 25th, 1st of April, and April 8th. Getting a show greenlit like this has to be great. And Apple TV Plus has put out obviously some things that have made waves. You have the morning show. I don't think you have to really, Ted Lasso is a revolution. How gratifying is it not just to get it greenlit, but to get it greenlit in like a streaming platform and service right now that is pumping out some like very cinematic, great series?
Yeah, no, it's the best possible place for the show for sure. Their shows are incredible and they treat their shows really well and market them expertly. And we just couldn't be luckier.
There's like a really cool spin on sort of the corporate grind set. And it almost reminds me of like almost if Office Space was like a thriller, like a psychological thriller. That same sort of like mental state. What drew it to you? Let's say.
Yeah, I'm. First of all, I think that's sort of what Ben Stiller, who directed most of the episodes, his executive producer, what he really had in mind was sort of, because when you watch that first episode, it starts out feeling sort of Office Spacey or like The Office or Parks and Rec, sort of this light sort of office banter, but you sort of get this feeling there's something sinister lurking underneath and there's something just sort of off about this place. And yeah, that's sort of what drew me to it. I think, that idea, but also the big science fiction idea of these two different bifurcated lives that you're living. And if you are cut off from everything that happens at your job, then what is happening at that job? What is this company doing to you or with you? Why are they cutting you off from the rest of your life? These are all questions that I would ask if I was in that circumstance. And this company, Lumen, that we all work for, is mysterious and has been around for 150 years or something, and no one quite knows what they're up to. The work they're having us do down there is certainly weird and doesn't make any sense.
The way you phrase that, I just saw yesterday. I had to use baking soda for the first time in a long time, and Arm & Hammer's been around for 170 years. What have they been up to? Now you got me thinking about these other old companies. What they've been had.
Well, no, it's true. There's all kinds of companies like that where you're like eating your cereal and you're like, wait a second, they also make my air conditioner. What is this? There are a few of these American corporations have just sort of been around and they make all sorts of weird shit.
Kirkland, I think, is a great example there. If you've ever been to Costco, Kirkland makes boots, but they also make chicken. They also make
they do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't
They
quite
can
make
get a
sense.
coffin or a
Pants, yeah.
toothbrush. They make it all.
Yes. That's actually one of the best parts of the movie Idiocracy is when they go to Costco and the guy's a law degree from Costco in the future. You mentioned Ben,
man. That's a great movie.
unreal. Very predictive, like insanely predictive, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally.
You mentioned Ben Stiller. He directed 6 episode, EP'd. He's been your director before on Walter Mitty. What's he like as a director? Is he a player's coach, so to speak?
Yeah, Ben obviously is an actor himself and a great one. And so he understands how weird that job is and how hard the job can be, not saying it's as hard as a real job, but it's, being in front of the camera is a weird experience. And so he gets that, and he knows how to talk to actors really well. And he's also this brilliant storyteller and this visual storyteller. And I think the look of the show really kind of speaks to that. And Walter Mitty as well. And Tropic Thunder, which is one of my very favorite movies ever. He's an incredible director and someone that I just trust 100% and feel like I can just let go and just let myself kind of get lost in the scene without having to worry about whether it's good or bad, because I've got Ben there and I trust his taste so much that I can just go and be good or shitty, and he will be the judge of what he uses or not. And that's what you want in a director, someone you trust completely.
I like how you at least admitted that acting is not a real job, unlike podcasting, which all 3 of us do. Real job right there. Manly, blue collar stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I have calluses all over my hands from podcasting.
My too. From holding this blue blue right. Snowball microphone, man.
Look,
you would not believe.
I've got this one. It's not easy.
What is it for you, especially so many people will know you a ton from comedic roles too. This is obviously something a little different, and you've gone back and forth plenty on things like that, and even kind of a mix of the Krampuses of the world, right? Like, where do you, when you're picking roles, is it just if I see it, I like it, or do you try to space out like a little comedy here, maybe a little something more dramatic here, just to kind of keep things fresh, or does it not matter as much?
No, it's sort of both. I mean, what I figured out and somewhat recently is that the number one thing I need to, the thing that's worked out for me the best is finding things that I would want to watch, that I would want to go see. That really is the only way I can judge something, because when I've gone by that metric, it's worked out. Party Down, Parks and Rec, Step Brothers, The Overnight, and now Severance. When I first read it, I was like, this is something that, because I love Twilight Zone and Black Mirror and even Total Recall. I really loved as a kid. The Terminator, the original Terminator, just blew my mind as a kid, because it had that central conceit, that central idea was just mind blowing and just kind of really opened up my imagination. And this is one of those things that has this really cool central idea that everything else grows from. And so that's really all, because whenever I've done something for any other reason other than this is something I want to go see, it's, Big Little Lies is another one. It was a conscious choice. I wanted to go do something more dramatic, and reading the scripts, I was like, ooh, this is really addictive and good and fun. Whereas when I've done stuff for other reasons, either like money or I think this might be a thing for my career, it never quite works out.
Doesn't feel the same. What do you call it? I saw, this may be true or not, I really don't know, that a second season shooting right now, kind of nearby to us in New York, New Jersey. I don't know if it's true or not, just saw the call sheet. But if true, is there anything you can tell us about season 2 as far as direction goes?
You saw a call sheet for Severance season 2?
That's what I saw. I looked up just Severance. I was like, I wonder if they got greenlit for season 2. And on the Wikipedia and in all other places, it said, yeah, they're filming season 2 right now as we speak. And it said it started the 14th.
No. We're not shooting season 2 right now, and hopefully we will be soon, but we're still kind of waiting to see what happens with that.
Fair enough.
Apple TV Plus, check it out now. We got to nerd out with you for a second. Specifically me. My moment was a little less fanfare based than you, but you obviously got to meet Mark Hamill on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Pretty cool surprise. Kristen Bell was hosting. I got the chance to meet Mark Hamill. He is also my like childhood hero. Usually I'm doing this I'm in Austin, Texas right now. Usually I'm home in New York, and there's just Star Wars toys all over my office.
He's got the Kenners, man. He's got all the good stuff. Like,
oh, that's great.
And then one of my coworkers, Robbie, we got a chance to meet him. And here is me with Mark, and he's actually holding. We got to play with, like, he was looking at my Luke Skywalker action figures when I was a kid.
That's amazing. That is so cool.
You got to see him. It was national TV, came out. He had the lightsaber, and you said it was like the greatest. Can you, in your words, describe what it's like when like your icon and idol is a character like Luke Skywalker, and you're there with it? It's indescribable, right?
Yeah, it was really crazy because also it was a complete surprise. Before the show, on talk shows, they kind of go over what you're going to talk about out there. And they were like, so we wanted to talk about Star Wars. And I was like, really? I feel like everyone's kind of talking about Star Wars and I don't know what, are people sick of me talking about Star Wars? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, we really think that it would be fun. And I was like, okay, fine. Let's talk about Star Wars. Little did I know. And it was because when I was in the second grade, I invited Mark Hamill to my birthday party. It was right when Empire Strikes Back came out, and wrote him a letter and all this, and he never showed up. And so they're like, well, and then he comes out. It was such a bizarre moment because there's a studio audience there, cameras, lights, and then the door opens and there's like smoke comes out and he emerges holding a lightsaber. It's just insane. I couldn't believe it. And I think you can tell watching that clip that I'm surprised and acting like literally like a 5-year-old. It was unbelievable meeting someone like that. And then he's so cool and knows how much he means to you and indulged me and was just so nice. And it was, I'll never forget it. Just like I'm sure you'll never forget your interaction.
I told my coworker,
cool
I'm like, I don't think you appreciate the fact that he is holding my Luke Skywalker and Stormtrooper disguised toy from I don't think you.
It's crazy.
And he's one of the few guys that I think in any of those worlds, like Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever, like that is very, like you're mentioning, indulgent. Like Harrison Ford, not going to give you, I think, that same sort of level of indulgence. But like, man, Mark Hamill is always appreciated. And I think that's something like everyone loves about him, right?
Yeah. Really cool guy.
If you could be part of any Star Wars project, past or present, which one would you have wanted to be part of or would want to be part of?
That's a great question. Well, my favorite, I think, along with many others, is Empire Strikes Back. Both for what it meant to me at the time, but also just how great it is. And still, I marvel at just the perfection of that movie. I really loved Force Awakens, and the new ones I had a lot of admiration for, and my son is now 15, and so I showed him all the first 3 Star Wars movies when he was on his 5th birthday. We watched all of them, and so he kind of grew up with it too. So I got to bring him to Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker on the opening nights, and so as far as what I would want to be a part of, I don't know. Maybe a new world, something new in the future. I would kill to be a part of any of that.
The future, but it is a long time ago. Don't forget.
Yeah, a long time ago, obviously, in a galaxy far, far away.
Very, very far.
Really far.
We are a very dumb podcast. I want to note that before I set up what I'm about to tell you. Very stupid. And this is no slight on Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which I think is one of the more underrated movies the last, 10, 15, however many years it came out. Love Secret Life of Walter Mitty. But we have a bit. Our Twitter account for the podcast, it's decent size, decent following. We post trailers and, get a couple thousand, and we post real movie news. Like if someone's cast an Oppenheimer with Christopher Nolan, it's real. Like we're an account, but we also post some fake nonsense. And we routinely, for the last, I'd say 4 years now, we do this. And I'm going to show it to you. We will post that tonight. And we just did this like 15 minutes ago again. We will post that the trailer for The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, a new movie, is about to come out. And we'll make like fake commercials, like real fake commercials, say like it's going to air on like NBC or something. And the replies are always the same. If people like, oh, cool, for a new movie. They're like, this movie came out 8 years ago. Are we going to special?
What year is it?
A decade ago. So we just consistently push Secret Life of Walter Mitty. We just tweeted it again like 10 minutes ago. We said new poster.
That's really funny.
We did hashtag South by Southwest too. And people were like, are we missing something here? Did this not come out?
That's really funny.
Pushing it into the zeitgeist just endlessly forever. That's
yeah, I feel like the movie was kind of unfairly treated at the time. I think, it came out in like Oscar season along with all those kinds of movies. I love that movie. And I'm part of the reason I'm so happy about the reaction that Severance is getting is that Ben's getting his due as a filmmaker, because he's one of our great filmmakers. And I think it's great to see people recognizing that.
Because that movie too, like it just looked, first of all, soundtrack, fantastic. Beyond
yeah, for sure.
But also the look of that movie has some of the more just like gorgeous shots of just like landscape.
Totally. Yeah, it's a really good movie.
So no, we throw it out there once.
That's really funny. That is really funny.
We're getting it back in the word cloud.
People think someone's going to show up at South by Southwest thinking you're going to be those weekend premiere.
Yeah, where's the Walter Mitty screening? Which way to the Walter Mitty screening? The premiere.
We're going to do a little inside the actor studio here now.
Great.
This is very important to me. This is you delivered what I think is the funniest, I guess, funniest sequence of lines I've ever seen in a movie. Now, I'm a very dry humor person. Obviously, it's very subjective comedy, but I think the dinner scene in Step Brothers is, I think you put forth the only best way I can describe it is a comedic tour de force. And so, in the best James Lipton question possible, like, can you take us into your mind in that scene? How much of that was ad-libbed, specifically the Daughtry Probst, Bobby Flay part, and then the line delivery of "guilty as charged" with the stories is my favorite. And I'm not just saying that because we're talking to you. I say it all the time. It's my favorite delivery of any comedic line. What's the breakdown of like how that scene came to be?
I was in over my head shooting that movie. I had not really done a lot of comedy. And those guys are the very best. Obviously, they're the funniest and they improvise a ton. And I was figuring it out as we went. It was like learning to do the long jump at the Olympics, like with the stadium full of people and the cameras and lights and all of that. It was terrifying. And I wasn't great. But I felt like by the time we shot the dinner scene, I had started getting the hang of it. I remember John C. Reilly and I started going back and forth about something. I was like, okay, I think I've kind of figured this out now, at least a little bit. I still wasn't obviously on the level of those guys, but yeah, it was super fun. And, we shot that scene. It was a few days. I think we were doing that because everyone gets going on a run. And the way, McKay and those guys shoot is they just kind of let it go and just keep. I mean, we shot 1 million feet of film by the time we were like halfway through the movie. And it was just the best. It was so much fun. and the name dropping. Some of them were in the script. In fact, my audition, I remember in my audition, Mark Cuban was one of the names I dropped, and in the audition, I said the Cubes. I called them the Cubes, and I feel like that might be part of what won me the role, because I remember McKay thinking that was funny. It's so funny bragging about coming up with the Cubes is ridiculous. I think I threw in Jeff Probst and Chris Daughtry because I'm a huge Survivor fan. And now, because I did that, I've now over the years gotten to know Chris Daughtry, and he's a lovely guy. So yeah, I think, it was kind of a mixture of some of those names were in there, and then I threw in a few, and we did it so many times. I mean, who knows how many names we were throwing in there, and McKay would yell different names out to, it was all, so whatever ended up in the movie is whatever we did on that particular take. It's
because you said it that makes sense, but it truly is like you can just see those guys fishing.
Oh yeah, hanging out on a boat together without shirts on.
Yep. It just seems to work out that way. It was a very, very influential movie for us growing up, specifically like people, me and Jeff's like age range. And I think it's one where like you'd go to school and everyone would just quote it. Like you just go there and you'd quote like line after line after line as fast as you can with no original thought whatsoever. And just people would die laughing at Step Brothers quotes. Yeah. Was there a movie like that, like a comedy for like that for you growing up, where like that was your go-to quotable thing?
Oh yeah. I grew up in the 80s, so it was Blues Brothers, Caddyshack, Three Amigos. It was all those movies. The Jerk was a huge one.
The cans. He hates the cans.
Yeah. I mean, 100%, all that stuff. And so, so Step Brothers, the fact that kids grow up quoting it is just the greatest. Because if I grew up with that movie, I would be doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. It's just, and that's I think those are the two biggest movies for at least I think for probably both of us, Jeff. That and Borat were the two movies where you just quote it nonstop. It's totally. You'd say My Wife, and then you'd say like worldwide, like you do all of it.
That's right.
All right, we're gonna hit you with something we've been doing called a 6-pack. So it's just a 6-pack of questions, rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Give it. And we actually our third interview today, and we've had some very interesting answers for all of these. So I'm very intrigued where we're gonna go with
Who else did you interview today?
Randall Park early in the morning, and then we had Reese Darby just before in person.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. So very first question: can you run a comb through your hair?
Sure. Yeah, I can run a comb through my hair.
Just seems really thick. It seems like it would be hard.
You and I almost like we have some hair similarities.
Yeah, my hair is actually pretty fine. I had to. This is a lot of product to make it like that, but like if it's clean, it just falls down and I look like a beetle.
Damn. See, now I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of Dewey Cox, but now you in one of those beetle roles, because that was another. Oh my gosh!
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
So funny. Yeah. Okay, next question. You can press a button and instantly get a main starring role in The Mandalorian, or you can press a button where you can get the green light to do any project you want with an infinite budget. Which one do you press?
Oh man, that is a tough call. Because Mandalorian is incredible. I'm assuming you guys love Mandalorian. I mean, holy shit, that show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could I have two buttons? No, I have to choose one.
You have to pick one.
I think I would choose the second one because Mandalorian's already perfect. I would just screw it up.
See, everyone's picked this, and I think it's for the what did we do with this? Jake Johnson the other day, he said the same exact thing. Yeah. So next question. This one's very difficult. I'm very curious how you answer it. Is what does Christopher Walken smell like?
Heaven, pure heaven. I mean, like there's no other way to describe it.
We asked that question. Typically, we ask that question about Wes Anderson. That's usually like if someone's worked with Wes Anderson, and That was a quick answer. The Wes Anderson question, I'm not convinced when they leave set in a Wes Anderson movie, they're required to jot down what they think he smells like, because people have like a glossary, just the longest poetic description of Wes Anderson. Mm-hmm. It's just unbelievable.
Of his smell?
His scent, yeah.
Oh, wow. I bet he uses some really cool like French cologne that you can, that's, small batch.
Yes. Yeah.
Small batch yet was made like in the mid 60s.
Yes, exactly. Next question. You can only save one of these movies and the rest of them get erased from history forever, never existed. Raiders, Defending Your Life, The King of Comedy, Goodfellas, Midnight Run, Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
I mean, these are my favorite movies. Those are my favorite movies.
I know. I picked it from a list of your favorite movies.
You can't fucking do this to me. I mean, Jesus Christ, what am I supposed to do here? Erased from history, like I've never seen them even.
They never existed.
I mean, I have to choose Raiders of the Lost Ark. I just have to, because that was it. That's the only choice, even though it would be a much worse world without those other movies. That's a tough one.
Agreed. Here, next question. What is a role you auditioned for, really wanted, but didn't get? And this is funny, we're asking you this because when we asked Jake Johnson this, he said he really, really wanted the role of Andy Dwyer, and he auditioned for it a lot, but didn't end up getting it on Parks and Rec. Obviously, show you were part of it.
Really? I didn't even know that. The role I auditioned for and didn't get, I mean, so many, hundreds. I auditioned thousands of times. I auditioned for Scream, Scream 2, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all those movies back in the like mid 90s, late 90s. I auditioned for all of them and never got any of them. And now I'm glad I didn't, because I would have sucked and I would have gotten famous and not known what to do with it, or would have made some dumb movie and just squandered whatever I got out of it. I know I would have. I wouldn't have been able to parlay it into a career. I just didn't know what I was doing. And so, in retrospect, I think they made the right choice, because I would have sucked. But also, I'm glad just personally it didn't happen for me back then. So that's not answering your question, though. You know what? I came close on, the show 6 Feet Under from like 20. Yeah, I came close on that. And that was a real like heartbreaker. Michael C. Hall, again, the correct choice, got the role. But at the time that was like devastating. But again, he was great. I can't even imagine anyone else playing that role. But at the time it was tough.
And I'm actually thinking now, if you had the role in Scream, that you would have taken somehow partially the Matthew Lillard flight path and ended up playing Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. But we'll never know.
I was auditioning for the Skeet Ulrich part.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. Now it's time for the hardest question, the last question. We've had people say, hey, we're not comfortable answering this. People storm off set. They're very upset about this question. What fast food place has the best burger?
McDonald's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I would say they make everything good except burgers. That would be the one thing I think they need improvement on.
Well, I just feel like their burgers taste like they were made in a lab to please all the different pleasure centers in your mouth. And that's what I like about it, is it feels like I'm eating like a flavor wafer, and it all just satisfies. I haven't had a McDonald's hamburger in probably 10 years, but I remember what is the best? Is it Wendy's? Is that what it is?
It's such a hot debate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Texas guy, so I like Whataburger, but I know if people, they go in and out, they go regional. It's is In and Out? Is that well, then I would choose Five Guys.
Smart. Okay.
That seems like the most. I will say, I think that's the most popular.
Shake Shack. I love Shake
Those
Shack.
two.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'll do. Shake Shack for a burger, Five Guys for fries.
That's great. Yeah, the extra fries too. They put in that bag, that little bit of grease on it.
Yeah, and they give you the fries in the soda cup, and they're giant and filled with grease. They're perfect.
Mm-hmm. There is nothing more recognizable that has no character or quality to it than a bag from Five Guys and just the grease, like the grease stain on the Five Guys bag. It's the most recognizable, like simple thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So wait, Whataburger is your choice?
That's mine as a Texas guy. Yeah.
I think I would actually pick Burger King. I know it sounds crazy, but I think that they do that right. I think I like the Whopper a ton.
Ken, Jack, and I like Burger King, and people scoff at us.
They shit on us for liking Burger King.
I haven't had Burger King 20 years or so. You know what I want to do is go get a quarter pounder with cheese just to taste it, to see.
I wouldn't pick McDonald's, but I had it like 5 or 6 months ago. I had a quarter pounder. I was like, wow, this is decent. This is still pretty decent.
It's pretty good, right? Because they made it in a fucking lab. And
and you get something Mark from Severance would eat in his workday.
Oh, totally. 100%.
People say, like, you know what they put on that to make that taste good? I said, yeah, more of it. I get like, like it's
flavor crystals. Who knows?
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Severance, Apple TV Plus, a couple more episodes left to releasing. Check them out on Fridays. This was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
Take it easy.